Hello, welcome everyone to another great episode of The Good Word with yours truly, Mr. Frederick. Okay, guys, I'm going to get right into it here. Today, we are going to talk about let the godly unknown be sacred and unknown. All right, family. So, what do I mean by that? I mean, most things in this universe we don't know. We didn't know they were coming. We didn't know how it was going to come. We didn't know what was going to happen. But it happened, okay? And it provided an impact on our lives. So a lot of times we want to be able to predict. We want to be able to control, which is an illusion in itself. You don't control much of anything, okay? Let alone the future. But that being said, family, I say that to say, let the godly unknown be unknown. Some things, don't worry. Don't That's what faith is all about. Don't be in a position of always having to be in control over what's going to happen. Oh, I know this is going to happen. When is this going to? No, let it be unknown. And it's for your benefit. And I'm going to point out a few reasons why. Okay, family. One is it's for your protection. You just didn't know it. So some people that might have been around a while and noticed in their own lives that you're like, wow, you look back on things like, well, if that didn't happen, this would have happened and that would have been, you know, and you'll have incidents like that throughout your life where it'll be like a eureka. Oh, if that didn't happen, if this something unknown stepping in to help you. And that's all throughout your life, family. It's always going to be things how God puts his hand in a situation and you didn't even know, unbeknownst to you, that it was going to happen, but it ended up being the best for you. It wasn't what you planned. It wasn't what you even anticipated at all. It wasn't on the radar at all, but it ended up being your saving grace. How many times have you had people like that where you first met them and you were thinking, oh, didn't think much of it. No, it's just a person meeting them. Pretty cool. And then that person that you might have didn't even when you first met them, didn't even consider like a relationship or something of that nature at all. And it ends up being like the longest relationship you ever had. That's literally how life works. That's how God works, because it's people and it's things and situations that we are supposed to be exposed to usher in a certain part of our lives. Okay, so if we knew all of this, we would be God. So understand, and he works that way with protection, with putting things and putting you in situations around individuals all throughout your life. So be open to that mystery at all times. Get into a Bible verse here that talks on that. 1 Timothy 3:16, which states, and without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Yes, without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. And that's all you need to know. Another reason is, family, if you knew, you would do something. If you knew what was going to happen all the time, you would do something that would mess up your whole destiny. If you knew, you would be in a situation, you would make a move, or if you knew everything that was going to come. And you were thinking, oh, okay, well, if I do this, but see, he knows 2, 3, 4 steps down, okay? So he knows all of these moves that you don't understand in the future. So you're just looking one step ahead, but you don't see what's going to happen here, here, and here. I can also mention how many times someone you thought was going to be there for you in your future and was nowhere on the radar. A year later, 6 months later. And this is just life, family. It's life. So don't question God. Don't move through life always questioning the Lord. I remember elders used to say back in the day, oh, let God be God. Oh, they used to say things like, oh, Lord, let the Lord do what he's going to do. Things of that nature. And I say, wow, I used to be like, that's kind of weak. I want him to do this. But now I understand. Let God be God, family, because he knows better than you. And all of these things you're meant to know, you're meant to grow with, you're meant to go through, whether you want them or not. You'll see in the end, you'll see the reasoning for it. Another reason, family, is It's more powerful than you. You know, it's more powerful. That godly mystery is more powerful than you. Can't stop it. You can't change it. You can't alter it. So why fight it? Why use your energy to fight something that's inevitable? You cannot help it. You have no control. When you submit your control to the unknown of God, you let it go. You're just in seek of the truth. You're in seek of knowledge. Okay, you know what you know today. What you know today and who you are today will not be who you will be tomorrow. That's who you are today. And a lot of people get it twisted and they think, oh, I'm going to be this way forever. I think like this, especially when we're young. I think this way. This is my values. This is my principles. This is what I believe in. I believe in this political issue. I believe in all sorts of facets of things in life. But that is what growth is about, family. Give yourself room to grow. When you give yourself room to grow, you will find that you look back on yourself and you say, wow, that person there I needed to be that person in order to be reinforced what I am today, because it was the lessons I learned back then. And now I can understand someone that has that mindset, that has that view. I can look at someone that has that opposing view to what I believe in now, and I totally get them. But I also can dissect their point as to why. I can debate them as to why they're wrong, because I've already done what they're doing. Okay, and that's why experience is undefeated. you cannot. There's no exception. There's no comparison to experience when it comes to learning. You know, you could go to class, you could sit down and study and all of that kind of stuff. But when you are looking at someone who's gone through it, who's been there, done that, it's no competition. It's, you know, experiences is underrated. You know, you want experience. Okay, so that's the importance of that. Also, family, you want to always be in the sense of not knowing. Okay, you know what you know. Granted, as a human, as a mere mortal, you do know what you know. You might be very educated, you might be very in the know, and that's fine. You know what you know. However, and you might be extremely intelligent, whatever you got going on, there's always going to be an element of mystery to this world, okay, to happenings, to events. And that's okay, because you want to be in a position of seeking. When you say to yourself, I know it all, there's nothing for me to know, what do you think your brain's going to do? Something comes at you, you're not even going to see it. Oh no, that doesn't fit with my paradigm. That doesn't fit with what I believe in. Oh, I'm not going to explore that. That's nonsense. But when you do that, family, you close off the very reason why you're still here. You're still here to complete your story, okay? I mean, I think I saw a meme. A lot of you guys might have seen it years ago, but I see it usually every Black History Month. But it has Malcolm X when he was Detroit Red, and it has, like, I can't remember the other figures, but it has them in their younger ages when they had a certain mindset and they were living a certain lifestyle. And it says, if we were all judged at this point, who would we be, or where would we be? And I think that's poignant to what I'm saying. We all are developing, family. We all are developing, and we should all, especially for my older people, you know, my older people, I'm talking your 40s, your 50s guys, even late 30s, you're getting up there. If you're 35 and up, you're starting to get into the older, you're getting in our group, okay? And you need to understand that when you look at people that are 20s, early 20s, teenagers, they haven't seen a lot. So have some grace on them. And I've struggled with it myself, you know, having young people, having kids in that 20s and that age range, and you look and you say, wow, how come you can't get it? And then you look back and you say, oh, well, I'm in the same position when my parents were saying, hey, wow, why can't you get it, you know? And it's interesting. Of course, we're not all the same. However, it's just certain things that you come to an understanding at certain ages. And that in itself gives you a certain peace of mind and a calmness, because you're not trying to figure it all out. You're not trying to solve all the problems. You're not trying to be God. You understand, you submit to God, but you're not trying to be God. And when you don't accept the mystery of God, you're pretty much trying to be God, because you're questioning why is it not going your way, instead of going with the flow of how it's going and finding your purpose in that period. Okay? I think when you think about it, COVID, family, I mean, that took everybody by surprise, okay? I don't know many people who thought when they first heard about it, oh, this virus is coming, it's in overseas now, and it's coming, it's da da da. I don't think many people I spoke to at least, could foresee the impact on business, on the health system, on the educational system, on life in itself, life in general. I mean, things change that still to this day are changed from that time period, okay, 5 years ago when it first started. A little over 5 years ago, actually. But things that were implemented, that took place, never went back to the same ever since then. And that was all a mystery. That was all, whatever theory you have on why and who, the bottom line is it happened. And so that's an example of not being able to foresee events. And I'm not saying everybody can't, because certain people, we all have different gifts and can be tapped in to see certain things, but you'll never know it to the extent of the Most High. Okay? That's the thing. You'll never know it to that extent, and that's what you have to submit to, because that even opens you up for what you do know, and acceptance for the role you are allowed to play, because you can see how he has specifically gifted you with certain things and certain knowledge to see certain things. Okay, some of us, not all of us, because you have to be in that submission. You have to be in that subordinate role to understand that these gifts are given on his time, not your time, his time. And last but not least, family, I'm going to say your purpose is in the mystery of God, okay, unfolding in different ways for different roles for you to play at different times. I can't remember the quote that Martin Luther King said years ago, but it was pertaining to never look down on this type of man and that type of person, because at some point in time you will be that person if you live long enough. And that's true. Paraphrasing here. But that's true, because in reality, we have all, as the older you get, have played certain roles. Okay, we've been the good guy, we've been the villain, we've been the caretaker, we've been the spoiled one, we've been we've been ran over, we've run over somebody. We played all the roles. Okay, all the roles. The older you get, you have more opportunity to be put into these situations, you know. And so none of us are in a glass house. All of us have a glass house, pretty much. You point one finger, you got one pointing back at you. But the key is to understand the mystery of the Lord is when he's shifting you from different roles. You're going to go from student to teacher, you know, and then you might go back to student, okay? And you're going to go back to this, and you're going to switch these roles all throughout your life, and having that openness and having that understanding that Most High is ultimately in control, and releasing that tension of having to know everything. What you want to focus on is what you do focus on. My people out there that are in submission of God, and they understand that they're in a learning position, that they can grow with the roles that he puts them in, because he puts you in certain roles, and sometimes he's putting you in a situation where you don't want to be in, where it's not so great, where you might be going through a lot, but he's preparing you for later. How many times, family, have you thought of, okay, wow, I'm going through a really rough time here, but then you were able to think back to rougher times at a certain time, like, okay, I'm complaining about, I wanted to have steak tonight, but couldn't have steak. All I had was salmon in the fridge. I mean, come on. You know, and then you might think, okay, I remember when I was in school or something and I was eating oodles and noodles. Okay, I was eating a value meal. And it goes on and on. I'm just giving a quick example of it, family. But I mean, this is life. It's all subjective. It's all subjective. So when you understand the order of things and where you fall, that you have a certain amount of free will. But at the same time, ultimately, the Lord is in control of your protection. The Lord is in control over your path, ultimately. And being open is the first wisdom. Being open to that. Okay, that's the first wisdom. Having that fear of God. Okay, and understanding that. Because you won't be blindsided when things go, where did that come from? You understand you're not in ultimate control. And you submit. But you pray and you ask for the information, you ask for the protection, and you move forward. Okay, you move forward with courage. And most of my viewers, people that watch me, know that Sprouting Crowns, Mr. Frederick, everything I'm about is about openness. It's about learning. It's about teaching. And we're here to help people. We're here to help people grow, because so many people in today's age get to the point where they feel like they don't have anyone. They feel like everyone is out to get them. They feel like, okay, and they might have a lot of people out to get them. They might have a lot of people that are against them, that don't want to see them win. You know, it could be toxic, dysfunctional family, friend sets, whatever, okay? You know, I always talk about this stuff. It's very important to know your environment, know where you're at, know who's around you, and know who's for you and who's not for you. It's very important, family. But ultimately, they can't stop nothing. No one that's against you can stop who's for you, okay? They will, if anything, just be put in position to watch. That's what they'll be in position, to just watch you. Because they don't have the power to stop you. All they can do is watch. But some people haven't gotten to that spiritual understanding yet. And they're still thinking that, oh, everyone's against me, my classmates, my friends, thinking young people here, okay, where their world is a little small, just based on age. They haven't lived a lot, and that's their world, though. And I did, when I was doing my live, I had a few young people talk and say, hey, you know, I'm getting teased, I'm getting bullied. What do you advise I do? Someone doesn't like my gender, my sexuality, my race, or I've gotten all of those types of comments with people in my chat. And you know, that's what I'm doing this for. I'm doing this for all ages. Okay, all kinds of people go through things that they need to lead themselves, okay, out of. And if you have that ability, okay, to help, which I do, that's why I do it. But I wasn't always willing to, nor did I have the complete ability. And that's how you got to look at yourself. That's the mystery of godliness, is that the gifts that you have are being developed constantly, and for a position that you don't know you're going to be in. You don't know, and it's okay not to know. And those young people need to know, and even older people need to know, that their position will change, because it's constantly changed throughout life until we transition. It's going to be changed, and it's okay. What needs to be solid is your faith. That needs to be consistent, because that's the one constant that should not change. It should always be in belief that, okay, I don't know all the answers, but I know it's meant for me. And I know that I'm going to find a gem. I'm going to find a diamond. I'm going to find a nugget, a gold nugget here that's going to benefit me, okay, and everyone around me. And if you have that positive mindset, ultimately, you can't lose with the stuff you use. All right, family, so remember, let the mystery of God be, okay? We don't need to know it all. It's okay. Just know that He got our back and our front. Remember, family, love what you do and do what you love. Peace.